What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie, and today I want to discuss I changed my mind on edibles. I actually recorded this as a talking head video this week, but apparently I didn't record any audio, so I guess I'll just re-record it on our walk, I guess. One of my last videos last week, I discussed how I went on my anniversary trip and I decided to try edibles for the first time in 2.5 years. So I got high basically, and for two reasons. One, I mean, I was gonna have fun. I wasn't gonna limit my wife from having fun just because I, have this, weed addiction journey thing. And I also wanted to see, me dipping my toe back in weed and seeing if it has that same effect and if I can actually partake and still not be addicted. So, long story short, I'm not back smoking weed or even taking edibles on a regular basis. It was just a one-time thing because we were in Colorado, and we're in Colorado, so why not? But in the past, I have made a declaration about edibles saying that I think edibles aren't as easy to get addicted to, simply because me personally, when I was smoking weed every day or ingesting THC, my choice of intake was smoking. And I've always felt like it's more easier to get addicted to smoking weed because, one, you are getting high at a much quicker rate, whereas when you're taking edibles, it takes you about anywhere from 1 to 3 hours to actually feel the effects, whereas when you're smoking, you feel it within 10 or 15 minutes. And not only are you getting the high at a faster rate, you're also getting a buzz on the tobacco, especially if you smoke, if you smoke blunts, which I did. So you kind of have a slight tobacco addiction as well. And I always felt like, edibles aren't easy to get addicted to because it takes so long. So who has time to take an edible and wait 2 and 3 hours and get extremely high? And also my experience with edibles, even what I was saying last time, when I said last week when I did get high, edibles hit differently. The times I have taken some real edibles at a high dosage, I got way higher than me actually just smoking weed. So I'm like, nobody could do this every single day. But I'm really just being biased to weed itself biased to smoking itself, because when I first started smoking, I would get high to a point where I couldn't actually deal with people, live regular life. I couldn't go out and talk to people. I was extremely whether being paranoid or being geeking, as they say. But the more you smoke, the more tolerance you gain. And once you start smoking every day for years and years, you really just smoke weed to be normal. You don't even smoke weed to get high anymore, although you can still get high, but you're really smoking weed just to be a quote-unquote normal person. So I'm I get so high on edibles that I'm not feeling like a normal person. But that's only because I choose to not take edibles every single day. I also got real high because I took 4 bars, which was not what I would recommend. But I wanted to go big or go home, and I went too big to go home. So, I would say that, okay, if I did, let's say, just take a bar or half a bar and allowed that time for it to kick in and just continue to coax every day and to coax throughout the day and just take a half a bar or a bar here and there to just keep a mellow high, not just allowed to be that intense. I'm I guess it is very possible to still get addicted to edibles just like you would smoking. And especially in today's society, especially Gen X, a lot of them are against the idea of just smoking in general, although they are vaping, taking edibles, taking psychedelics. The idea of smoking cigarettes to them is frowned upon, and I think that can also be correlated with weed itself. So many of them who are on weed, they're doing edibles, they're doing oils, they're doing different intakes that we primarily just either, smoke the joint, smoke the blunt. If you were living on the edge or doing something adventurous, you'll, do a bong. But edibles weren't as prevalent when I was starting smoking 15, 20 years ago, like they are now, especially if you live in a legal state. So who am I to say that you can't get addicted to edibles the same way you would if you're smoking? So I felt like maybe I know I was being biased to how I enjoyed weed. And I'm like, even though I'm real high right now, I was the same amount of high when I first started smoking. And I got to a point to where it became more tolerable. And I just, again, smoked weed to be normal. And who's to say, I know for sure if I just, did this every single day. Yeah, if I did this every single day, I'm sure I would get used to the effects and my tolerance would get higher. And I would just learn to just take a half a bar every hour or so. So excuse me if you have watched one of my videos and I've said, I don't think you can be as addicted to edibles as you would smoking. I changed my mind. Anything is addictive. So excuse me for kind of, like I said, being biased towards smoking weed and disregarding the effects on people who do primarily use edibles as their choice of intake. So, yeah, just a brief video. Like I said, I just wanted to say, I changed my mind on edibles. I think whether you, vape, whether you do edibles, whether you smoke, they all can be addictive. I will say edibles is you can argue that it's the safest because you're not anytime you're smoking something, burning something into your lungs, whether it's smoking or vaping, there's going to be some additional side effects besides the THC itself. So, yeah. So, just a brief video that I want to talk about today on my experience, again, about me trying weed again for the first time in 2.5 years. Now, if you want to look at that video, so the last video, it is titled, I Got High, but I Did Not Relapse. So, take a look if you want to. Until next time, I don't know if you guys can hear. It's an ice cream truck in the distant background neighborhood. That's my best friend who we started smoking weed together. He still smokes weed. He did sell weed out of the ice cream truck. He recently went to jail, so he's primarily only selling ice cream now. But I can hear him riding around here. And maybe you can too. And maybe he needs to see this video. But anyway, till next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. And remember, we are all in this together. Peace.